Now, my interactions with the little Alfa are a little bit less glamorous than my wife's. I mainly take care of the maintenance of the car and keep it running and keep it safe. And today we're going to do a little maintenance on it, which is replacement of all the vacuum lines associated with the Bosch fuel injection system, typical on these cars from the mid-1980s. And we'll replace a few other things as well along the way. And we'll talk about why you want to spend careful attention on those vacuum lines for this particular fuel injection system. So we're going to get underneath the bonnet, the hood of the car here, and get to work and discuss some of the issues that can arise if you have vacuum leaks in this particular system. Well, here we are taking a look at the engine compartment of a 1986 Alfa Romeo Spider Veloce. After 1982 for the Spiders, they put in a Bosch Jetronic fuel injection system, and this was used in a lot of different cars. It's a really excellent system, and you can see that it has an awful lot of vacuum hoses associated with them. They are really important for sensing the oxygen content in the fuel and keeping the car running right. The other thing they're very sensitive to is any kind of a situation where you have a ground fault error in terms of the control board for it or any of the sensors. So that's something else that's important. Now, if you find that your Spider begins to stutter a little bit when you give it the gas for acceleration, and you're finding that happening, one of the reasons could be that it's not sensing the fuel to oxygen mixture correctly. It's getting an air leak, it's getting a little bit too much oxygen in the system, and you're not getting the right fuel oxygen mixture, and that's pretty common. A couple things that can cause that. One is there's a gate in here that works on basically the pressure of air coming in from here where the air cleaner is into the system. If that gate gets stuck, it's not moving freely with the air, it will give a false reading to the system and it can cause stumbling like that. The other is that you can have vacuum leaks in all of these vacuum lines that you see here associated with it. In addition, there is a connector here, a rubber connector, and they can perish. You can see in this case that this one's we put a little bit of tape on it, and so we bought a replacement for that as well. There are lines also in the back of the car near the fuel tank. We're not going to talk about that today, but we're going to talk about replacing all of these vacuum lines up here in the engine as a maintenance and a precaution against this car developing trouble starting to stumble under acceleration. And we'll also put a new air filter in it. And so that's the task for today. That's what we're going to be working on and showing you. Now, one thing that can make replacement of the vacuum hoses easier on the Alfa Romeo Spider and the Alfa Romeos in general is you can get now complete silicone hose kits cut to the right size. Each one is the right diameter for it, and also comes with a nifty set of instructions. And so here's a set that we got from HPSI. They're pretty well known for this. There's some of the information in case you're interested, and that makes your life a lot easier rather than trying to guess what the diameters, inside diameters are, or the lengths that you need and things like that. You can get a complete hose set front and back for these cars, and away you go. You can also order, of course, other bits, like this is the connector here on that air feed, and there's an air filter. And so parts availability is good, and to make your life easier, you might want to get one of these kits here with the silicone hoses, which will replace then the cloth, the original cloth bound ones, which after a while are basically going to go. Even if the exterior looks good, they begin to crack, as you can see here on the interior, and you start to get air leaks in them. And so this is a way to replace those with something that's going to give you some pretty good service life. Now, when we look at all these hoses, it looks pretty straightforward. You can see where they go to, except this one here. You see it coming off of the main air. intake, curving around, and then it disappears with a smaller one into the side of the car here. So where does that go? How do you replace that if you can't figure out where it is? Well, if you go underneath the car, you can see that there's a panel here held in with cross-headed screws or Phillips screws that you remove that, and that will allow you then to get to the spot where that hose is attached to. So you have to get that off, and hopefully these are not going to be too rusted on there, the screws that are holding that little closing panel in place here. So to get after these ones in the engine compartment, I've got the kit laid out here, and I've got the instructions. And what I did is I got some photographs as well of other kits. In this case, one that they had used these bright pink hoses, you know, just to help me keep everything in order, as well as some still pictures of my own setup, so I can see exactly how everything was. And very helpfully then, they have a couple of illustrations that come along with the kit of the Jetronic. This is 82 to 89, which is the correct one for this car, which helps you know which sizes of the hoses to put in. The hoses themselves are labeled, and they have to be trimmed, of course, but it keeps the right diameter in the right place for you. So I'm going to start at the back with a hose labeled A, which is about the second largest hose. And it goes here to the power brake booster. So it's giving you the vacuum for the power brake booster. And I've taken it off at that end, and you can see that it's pretty much cracked all the way through in several different places there, and clearly in need of replacement. So take that off there, and then we have hose A, which will cut to shape there, and there's a couple places that this size fits. Now once the old hose is off, and again this is the one to the brake booster, you know, you can use it, get its length, and use it to get the length of your replacement hose. Maybe go ahead and just put it on there, make sure it's the right diameter. This one looks like it is. There's a mixture of different hose clamps. With these silicone hoses, in theory, you might not need hose clamps at all. I just like to kind of put them on. I don't like the plumbing hardware style. I like style like this. I think it's better for the hose, continuous round loop, and so I'm probably going to fit those on there. This little device here gives you a very nice clean cut on the hose. Uses 2 fingers to go in there, and you get a pretty precise and very nice cut, and so I highly recommend it.